Hey folks, it's me Chris, and I wanted to take a few seconds of your time to talk about this awesome new opportunity that we've been presented with for all of our lovely listeners. We can now offer you all a 1-month free trial from audible.com, allowing you full access to a vast library of audiobooks to choose from. As I mentioned earlier, the trial is completely free, and all you have to do is visit audibletrial.com/GHS and follow the instructions to sign up for a free membership today. We hope you guys enjoy Audible just as much as we do, and thanks for your time. He's just kind of like chilling at the what is it, the black wall, the white wall? Is that what it's called?
The North Grove?
Yeah, or the wall thing.
Oh, the wall.
Snow.
It's called the wall.
The wall. Oh, okay, fuck. All right, shit. Good going, George R. R. Martin. But yeah, like he just kind of chills at the wall for a little bit, and then like leaves, and then like right when things get interesting with him, his story's done. You know.
I just figured. Okay, I was doing some digging. Ice Dragon is the name of the constellation that's above the trees.
Oh, so okay, that was the name of the constellation. Okay, that's bullshit.
So
though.
that the trees lave beneath the watchful eye of the Ice Dragon.
That's crap.
Okay,
Why not just call it?
I'm a little bit upset.
That's not as exciting.
Yeah, nowhere near as exciting. No, that's a bit of a letdown. All right, well, there you go, folks. Ice Dragon's a constellation.
Okay, that makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah. I guess let's talk about the beginning with, what's her name? Mira, I think, right?
Yeah, Mira.
Mira Forrester. Forrester.
And Marjorie. So we both told the truth and were dismissed. So
yep, same.
Yeah, she was just kind of like, whatever. And I assume she died in your story, right? Like the beheading?
She did, yes. I didn't want to marry wanker.
Yeah, I was like, fuck that guy. Like, yeah, Morgren or whatever. I was like, fuck you, dude. I'm not gonna marry you. Because he gave, like, the worst... He's like, so you're gonna marry me, and then I'm gonna, like, kill all your family in secret, and then, like, I'm gonna make you have...
plant my seed in you and not say it. It's like the most biggest turn-off / way of talking about it. It's like, what? It's
I know.
Maybe if it would be like a two-way street, I was like, yeah, I can survive everything else. I was like, no. The funny part was, though, when he said that you'd put Tom up there. Is it Tom, the little kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he die, by the way? They kind of didn't even say it.
No, he's in the crowd.
Oh, he's in the crowd? Oh,
yeah.
Shit. Okay, I didn't notice him. I thought he took a hike and made it for Muddy Way. Legitimately, they say that in the story. So
it was very confusing, because why even mention, hey, go over here, they will protect you, if you can't even make it there?
Yeah, that's weird. I feel like that would have been more of an interesting story, seeing her get there, you know?
I think they were trying to get to that big plot twist. It was like, dun, dun, dun. He's like, yeah I'm the one who did it. It wasn't, like, really big twist either. Because he's just kind of like, really?
Yeah. It was... oh, God, that was... Mira should have probably left that place sooner, right?
Yeah, and nobody even mentioned her in the last 2 episodes. No one's like, I hope Mira's okay. Did she get that alliance with Lannister? Like...
It's ridiculous.
Well, I was saying Lannister, like, mentions of Cersei Lannister, no Cersei Lannister. I was like, what? I always said that Cersei Lannister should have more of a central role in the game. And then she's not even seen this episode, and, like, she doesn't turn up, or, like... I think, like, killing her off wasn't the right idea. I think they should have got Cersei to come in and stop the execution. And then that could have led into something, like, even more of an interesting idea. But, I mean, like...
maybe she hates the White Hills and wants to get the wood for herself or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it just kind of... It was almost like a really pointless martyr going up there and killing it. I understand that kind of, like, when they were doing it, it's kind of cool. Everything that leads up to it and how you can kneel and even spit at Morgren. Did you guys spit at him?
No. We just kind of gave him the stare. And then what was... Our death was... from ice or whatever, like
Iron from ice.
Yeah,
I did that twice. I did that with Asher as well.
Same here. It was just
felt very epic.
Yeah, it felt very empowering, despite the fact I was about to fucking lose my head, literally.
Well, also, taking... I don't know if this happened with you, Adnan, but since we didn't spit at him and we had, like, a proud face, the crowd was like, oh, save her. She's an honest girl.
Yeah, some of them were saying
person.
That. Yeah.
So if you spit on him, are they asses?
I would assume so, yeah. Cause I think
must be from Muddy Way.
Yeah, they...
God,
they were probably excited for her to die if you spit on someone.
Yeah. I just feel like that storyline was wasted, like really wasted potential. There was just nothing about it that kept it integrity. Like, she was just fighting a pointless battle in King's Landing. Maybe that's the entire point of it, but also it still made no sense anyway. The fact that she, like, all this kind of stuff was happening, then all of a sudden Marjorie turns up. It's like, yeah, some reason you're still my handmaiden, but I might give you a second chance if you tell on Sarah or anything else. And it's just kind of like, I was raising my eyebrows at the entire thing. I was like, this is just meh, and like,
yeah.
Oh, there was so many points where I was like, Mira is not a good character. I was like, this character is just like,
yeah. All the, do you guys
I
get the
think they
vibe?
just wanted a female player.
Yeah, that would probably be it, and it's a bit wasted as well because could have got a better character.
They really should have used her for a different alliance. She should have gotten married to somebody, and then been like, okay, let's go on a journey with your army. Let's save my family, and then you'll be the producer of Ironwood. Everyone will be happy. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
He just really wanted that marriage alliance.
And
nobody got married.
and Tyrion disappears as well in this episode.
Yeah.
He's in that
Everyone's
cell.
like,
Nothing.
hey, I'll help you a little, bye.
Yeah. Well, Tyrion is already in the crate, isn't he? On the way there, because yeah. So he's like, you know, what is it? Pushing poop out of a hole. So the bald dude can throw it over the fucking thing. Sorry, I don't know names. I feel like a noob, but I legitimately. It's a good perspective though. You know, you guys are getting, because I just laugh at stupid things. And
here's an interesting one. What do you guys think of that moment where you talked to that woman across the doorway in the cell with Mira?
There was like no point to that. There's no resolution. She clearly is dead by the time you get there.
The point of that was to encourage us to get married to that guy, to do anything you can for your family.
You think so?
Yeah, because she's like, well, I would have sex with them to live, wouldn't you? And she's like, oh, well, I would do anything for my family. Yeah. And then since the guy, Morgren, was like, no, I'm just going to kill everyone and make you have my babies, then it's like, well, I'm not helping my family, but I don't know. Like, I think it was probably to encourage people to say yes.
I feel like they kind of like... Actually, let me ask you guys something. I have two things to say. The first is, do you guys feel in general like there's a lot of cut content from the last couple of episodes? Specifically 5 and 6? Like, we never... What is it in the... When you're picking an episode, you know how it shows like a picture of like a character, like Tyrion and Cersei and Daenerys and all that shit? They show a White Walker. You never see him in the game. That specific, you know, the guy with the long white hair?
The general, like the White Walker general. Yeah.
You never see him in the game, and I'm like, did they cut him from the game? Was that like a section that... Why would he be here in you know, concept art form?
Same with this episode. There's Daenerys on it, and it's just a quote, but no Daenerys. And you kind of like...
Well, her voice is at the end in the credits, but that's like nothing, you know. Like,
here's my kind of take of the entire series so far. I think they put 6 episodes in mind because they felt like they might need a little bit of kind of extra thing to flesh out certain plot lines and everything else. And because they had so many characters rotating across different episodes, they needed to really give enough time to each one. What I feel like is that they did a lot of problems with other games, films, and TVs do, where they took like Gotham, they took the concept of Game of Thrones world, and then they kind of put these the extra support characters, the main ones from the TV shows and the books, in there, and they were kind of really minor supporting roles to this own kind of universe they were building.
Yeah.
Because I think with the comparison with Gotham, if you watch Gotham, you see like this kind of thing. It is just literally almost like a detective show with Batman elements, with characters and stuff like that. It's not really like a huge kind of like that idea that everyone has, where it's like, I am living in the Game of Thrones world where I'm playing with these characters and everything else. Like Cersei Lannister, again, like 5 minutes into it, you think she'd be like one of the major characters dictating the storyline.
Yeah.
Especially with Mira Forrester, she's always hovering over and like, you know, playing a role as the Queen Regent. But I feel like it didn't come off as they planned it to. I do think maybe they, for purposes of what they were doing as well, I don't think their budget would allow them to have these characters and people coming in like all the time.
Yeah.
They were very, you know, reserved with the kind of characters they were picking and actors that they could put on screen. Then again, it kind of makes me question why would even do that.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing though, because like when we compare it to Tales from the Borderlands, I think me and Chris will give more perspective for you on that, Rebecca.
Yeah.
In the sense that Tales might have taken as long as it did. It was really drawn out, and the episode releases were sporadic, same as this one, and they were really poorly timed and just weren't really, you know, done well. But at the same time, Tales was a real big throwback to Telltale and like its humor, especially the Back to the Future stuff.
Yeah.
It really did something well in choices, and you had kind of meaning behind these characters. You liked them, you know, whatever else. But then on the other hand, when you look at Game of Thrones is the first series since not The Wolf Among Us, but The Walking Dead, where you feel like this is the kind of concept you want Telltale to adapt and build into a video game, because those choice-driven, decisions you make, you should be able to influence it, especially with Game of Thrones, because we've read the books and watched the TV show. You see how any little fat dick can cause, like, a complete reversal of, like, a role of, like, what happens behind a character, behind a family, everything else. I feel like it was wasted. Because the same with, like, a horror game as well. I've always said I wanted to see Telltale make a horror game and then see choices at the forefront.
Jason will remember this.
Jason will remember this.
Dude, the day we see that screenshot, I will dance with joy. That's going to be so cool if we ever get that.
Dancing Jason. By the way, it's really funny, though, as well. Like, if you skip the credits in this one, it doesn't do what Telltale's Tales from the Borderlands does.
Yeah.
Like, if you skip episode 5, it's like, we're getting really offended by this. I think the message crops up.
Yeah. Maybe it's because Tales had more of a light-hearted thing, so...
Yeah.
And games,
so
I guess they're
funnier.
just like... games is like, look, dispense with the pleasantries. Let's just get down to business, You could skip it. Go ahead. Do it. Yeah, like that kind of thing.
Also, with that as well in mind, like, their choice kind of thing with, like, whoever remembers this, some of the choices I did, and then they didn't pop up during the message, it kind of raised my eyebrows. I felt like that would be more of an important message than this one.
Yeah. It was weird.
Yeah, it's a strange one, thinking about it.
I feel like this is... Game of Thrones was... I was a little bit overhyped for this, because when the series was announced or had just came out, I had just gotten into the series. I think I started watching... what was it, Becca? Midway through... Was it season 3?
Yeah, I think you started watching in season 3.
Yeah, like, I saw the finale or something, and I had no idea what was going on, and then I just kind of like... No, because that was the Red Wedding. It was season 4. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, and I'm like, oh, shit, Telltale. And Beck and I were like, man, we love Telltale. So we got into it, and we played it or whatever, and there's a lot of potential. I remember playing episode 1 and thinking, like, God, this is going to be such a great series. It's going to go somewhere. 6 episodes, man. Can you believe that? Like, they're going to have so much room for character development, take these people places. And I think Adam makes a very good point. I think budget got in the way, scheduling got in the way, availability of actors, and how much they could use characters within this universe got in the way. And I think that really kind of messed up the series, what it could have potentially have been. Because if you compare this to Tales, where they had like a lot more, and I know we keep bringing up the comparison, but they both finished recently, so it's kind of hard not to. But like, that felt more of like a complete experience. I mean, there's some issues with the story, but I mean, that was a great complete story, and it left room for it finished the story, but it left room for a sequel. This is literally like a to be continued. Like, I feel like the next season should just be episode 7. It might as well. Like, not season 2, episode 1. Just make it episode 7, It
again suffers from that thing and syndrome that I've said, where it's like it's screaming sequel, but it doesn't deserve on it. It intentionally leaves on a really weird cliffhanger, like those plot lines of, like, Garrett staying in the North Grove, or he goes down from the North Grove down south, or how I said, like, with Gwyn picking me up and, like, I'm half dead, and, like, there's intentionally, like, storylines left loosely dangled because it wants to be season 2. Because of, like, its appeal, it will get it, and then obviously the critical reception between Tales and Game of Thrones is starkly different, which says a lot about it. But you can tell it's going to have a season 2. I think they were setting themselves up for it. Funnily enough as well, I mean, the only series that from Telltale episodically that has had other seasons is The Walking Dead.
Yeah. It's a season 3, I believe, is scheduled for
next season.
Yeah, next year.
Yeah,
I think.
We're a little bit kind of like weird on that, because I think they've said, like, they want to do The Walking Dead Michonne, and then after those 3 episodes are done, that's probably when you hear the first announcement about a season 3 of Dead.
It's definitely 2016. It's not going to come out this year. Like, Michonne is like right around the corner, and it's November, so yeah.
I think they're going to drop that mid-December. In the raid to get that out. I think that's going to be the start of the season leading into 2016.
And dude, at Minecraft, they are like plowing through that. Like, episode 3 came out like tomorrow. I think it comes out. They're already going to be like 3/5 in. They
said episode 3, November 19th, is when the first details come out.
Right.
which is probably going to be a launch trailer and screenshots and whatever else. But yeah, that kind of raises a massive question about why they are so inconsistent when they're sporadically breaking different teams apart and making them make different games. And yet, Minecraft has probably been one of the most consistent series ever in Telltale's history. Yet, The Walking Dead, not The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones and Tales from Borderland have been hugely inconsistent. Like they haven't, like this is the difference where I've said with like Don't Know and same with Life is Strange, because 5 episodes and they all had 8-week release windows, and more or less they met those target windows, but they were all there, and it kept a very cohesive way of, because we're not comparing completely with TV, because the entire point about these episodes is that they're structured in a way where they can be played months apart, and yet you still have a fresh kind of idea of what's going on. I completely forgot that I killed Roderick off at the end of this episode, episode 5, because it's just been so long. You kind of like, you have lapses of like what you remember of it. And again, as I said, it's Game of Thrones. It's not like an ordinary series where you can just remember certain people. There's so many characters, storylines, arcs, plot points, and you kind of like have to digest it all, because this is the kind of next question I was going to bring up to you guys was, what do you think of the series as a whole, having got all episodes now together?
Yeah. Boy. Well, I'll go first because I'm pretty quick. Because dude, I feel like it was kind of like a real letdown, and I feel really pissed saying that, because it had a lot of potential. Like I mentioned earlier, 6 episodes, and on top of that, it's Game of Thrones, and this is like one of the most it's like tailor made to be associated with Telltale. Like I think Game of Thrones and like Doctor Who and I forgot the other ones. There's like a couple of series that people throw around a lot, and they're like, we would love to see Telltale do one of these, and it happened. Like it was like the reality happened, and I think despite having 6 episodes, I felt like there's very little development and places that they took the characters. Number one, and on top of that, it ends on a cliffhanger. So even with 6 episodes, they had it structured to have like this cliffhanger ending to lead into a possible season 2. And like you mentioned earlier, dude, that's like one of the worst sins you could do with an entertainment product, is just assume you're going to get a sequel, because if you don't, you're kind of like
Genesis.
Yeah, you're taking the audience down muddy way, if you catch my drift. Like, you're telling them basically like, well, too bad, man. Like, at least you got a story. So my kind of final thoughts are, it started strong, and it kind of ended up not ending strong. I felt like there's like around episode 3 or something like that, it started losing my interest. And then by the time we got to 6, I just didn't care. I literally was a conduit, like a physical conduit for Rebecca to play this game. I was her hand-eye coordination, so she could make the choices and all. And I mean, I had fun. Look, I had a fun time watching her and watching the game itself. And for that, I'm grateful. But as a product of its own, if I was by myself playing this, like, I would have probably been bored out of my mind. And if they do make a season 2, honestly, it's up to Rebecca. If she's interested, I'll totally play it with her. But as it stands, I would rather save my $20 and do something else. Maybe save it for like another series. And that's a stark contrast from Tales, where I'm like, I am on board for a season 2. And same thing with Walking Dead. I'm totally down for season 3. But just not Game of Thrones. It didn't catch my eye.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of divided on this series completely. I don't think I'd buy season 2.
Yeah.
I don't think it's kind of justified having a season 2 at all. But yeah, I think I'm not really keen on seeing a second season. I don't think it's just going to be like such... Let's say jump it like 15 years ahead, then I'd be a little bit interested. But
I don't think they'd do that. But that'd be...
And then...
Yeah.
Well, they'd have to introduce different characters. I think that... But they'd have to intentionally do that, because then they'd have... what's it called? What's the young lord called? I keep forgetting his name.
Ryan,
yeah. Like, because he could be a playable character, because again, you've killed off certain characters. Like Mira's dead. I don't think they'd really go. I don't think they'd go for the other endings. I think they wanted you to kill her off.
Put her brain in a glass jar and bring her back. She's like, I'm alive.
Well, if they did a jump cut, we'd have to find out who the king or queen is. So.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
So it'd have to be after the show's. Well, I mean, the show is wrapping up. It depends really on the... No, I'm sure... I think Adam has the right thought, though. I think season 2 would be different characters. Like a different family. And, like, your choices would affect the story in some way. I think they're going to do that with season 3 of Walking Dead also, because the endings of season 2 were so different that, I think that's the only thing they could do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's a good thing. I mean, it's kind of, it's better, I think, like, to have a little bit of constraints in writing, because then I think you become more creative sometimes than being able to do whatever you want to do, and then, it doesn't really end up the way you want it to end up, so. But, last thoughts, Becca, on the series?
I think that they probably had some sort of figure that was telling them that a character couldn't go a certain way, that it always had to end in a certain way. Because I felt like none of the characters really grew, because they all either died before they could really get into their prime, like Ethan. I think if Ethan had stayed along this whole time and Roderick had actually died and maybe Asher came and joined him at the end in a dramatic way, like the two lords standing up, even though I guess Asher would technically be the lord. Or I don't know, because I guess if he's a Celestial, he might have not. Anyway, never mind. I think if Ethan had stayed the whole time, I would have been a lot more interested to see how his character grew and how he helped the Foresters as a young person growing into himself. And then having his family helping him and maybe Asher joining him later. Whereas for Mira, I was so excited about her story in the beginning, because I just love that handmade drama and, being in the Queen's Landing and all that stuff. But it just fell flat. And then her character died, so I was interested in her and her future for no reason, and she never ended up helping her family in the slightest, and that was just depressing.
Yeah.
So no, right now I'm not really interested in a season 2.
Talk about putting your eggs in one basket, and the most useless basket. The handle's already snapped from the basket. It's just tumbling down. What a terrible character she is. She really is not a good character at all. Especially Tom. I wanted Tom to die a long time ago with her. Like, God Almighty, he makes no sense in the plot, because like one point where I was like, "You should go and save yourself." He's like, "I could, but we're in this together." I'm like, what? What is your attachment with me?
That's actually what Becca said. She's like, why does he care about her?
If he had a crush on her, it would have made so much more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they could have injected that, but they didn't, though, and it was just kind of like, right. Like,
he just comes out of nowhere. He's like the Deus Ex Machina. He's just kind of like, oh, I'll help you.
Yeah, that would have been so much more interesting if she had a crush on him and then Morgan actually did give an offer to help her family. Then she'd have to choose between someone that can't help her but helped her hide a body and that she might love, or somebody that will save her family and come with an army. Like, that would have been a really good story.
It writes itself, see?
Yeah, I'm saying we need to do a fan fiction and write the true... Let's do an episode 7 together.
Well, it's like when he gets backhanded by a Lannister guard, and he falls to the floor, and Mira looks back and like looks the most unemotional response she gives, and then just walks away. I was like, I don't care. I was like, they could beat you up there with a cane. I just would not come back and save you. What is wrong with you, kid? Like, there's no reason for you to do this.
Just to say it a good and muddy way. That's all he said.
That's why you hit that Lannister body when he dragged it away. That 2-ton Lannister guard with armor. It's a 10-year-old kid dragging freaking.
No, like, how does that? I feel like he's like Satan or something. Yeah. Like he's just in disguise. It's like some. I
imagine Muddy Lane is where Diagon Alley is like located as well. Like you can get in there because like whilst he's dragging that body, you just see the woman from the Hogwarts Express. Anything from the trolley.
With a corpse with him. Oh man, that would actually be a wave. I would be like, oh man, Harry Potter crossover, good going, Telltale. That's another property that'd be great for Telltale. Harry Potter, they'd probably do a great, game or something.
There'd be the amount of like how long it would take them to get that would be unbelievable.
Oh yeah, Warner Brothers is like, I mean, J.K. Rowling and them are like pretty good together right now, so that would be like a big deal if they ever did it.
Mm-hmm.
But alright, I guess that's it. There's not really much we could say except like this should have happened, that should have happened, because we're coming up with these really great ideas. But alright guys, well that's it for this installment of Gamer Headlines' Spoilercast. For up-to-date episodes from Spoilercast, be sure to follow our other podcast, The Gamer Headlines Show, on Twitter at TGH Show, and also be sure to like our Facebook page, which is The Gamer Headlines Show. And additionally, Gamer Headlines' Spoilercast can be found on Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes, YouTube, and of course, as always, right here at GamerHeadlines.com. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you in the near future.
Bye.
Take care.